Okay, now let's talk a little bit about getting the rock ready for planting on a slab. Remember how I demonstrated how you could plant things on flat rocks? Well, I have different kinds here, and I'm going to show you how I go about, trying to decide what's the best thing to do. Okay, now what you want to do is to put your potential rock on a flat surface and see what it does. Okay, this thing wobbles a little bit, but it sits nicely. And what you're going to do is, especially like hard rock like granite, where the chance of us drilling a drain hole is slim. I mean, it could be done, they have equipment, but I don't have it, and it's quite difficult. So what you're going to do is to figure out how it will drain naturally. Just put it on a slope. Well, the best thing is just sprinkle water, and then you could find out. But I could see that the water will come around this way. Also, you got to figure out how this is going to get planted too. On this one, I would think that this will be kept unplanted, and the mound comes up around here. This particular rock, when left, it rocks a little bit. But if you were to plant in here like that, it should drain away, and not too bad. But it might look better if actually set like this, so the water drained this way. That's why I selected this, and I think it probably would do well if we put feet on it, or a base on it. Here's another rock, or these granite came from above Grass Valley, 6,000 foot elevation. And what it is that it's the side of a big boulder, and we have to get up above the frost, and what happens is that these flake off. That's why it has a nice little bowl, but this will lend itself to having a base put on it so that it could be stabilized and have, well, unless you want bonsai in motion, but I think this one has got too much motion here. So that's what I plan to do at a base. Now, this is one of the bowl rocks that I have. I usually buy these in Sacramento out of a commercial place. But you can see that this is very unstable. And if I could, goes like this, then the actual drainage is done through here. But on this particular rock, I know I could use the masonry drill bit and put drain holes. So I'm not as restricted on this as much as the granite, but definitely you could use a base, huh? So that's our next project, is how to make these so that you have a nice presentation before you get on to planting.
Okay, at this point, I have to kind of apologize. These are older tapes, and I'm missing the vocals. So what I'm doing now is to putting the mortar mix into a pile. And you have to kind of get this timing just right. We have to be soft enough so that the rock will stick, but stiff enough so that it doesn't squish the whole thing. And that's kind of the tricky part. You got to stay with it. There is no time formula. It depends on how the mixture came out and how the temperature of the day is. So when you start this project, you're going to be on it. You might want to pack your lunch because a lot of times when you go back and go eat lunch and come back maybe 30 minutes later, it might be too late. But here it is. See, we kind of get it in there, and it's stiff enough. And then once it's dry to a certain point, you start to carve it out. And this too is tricky, because if you wait too long, it could no longer carve it out. And if it's too soon, you'll slump, and actually you could knock off the whole thing. So anyway, if you try this a few times, I think you should be able to master it. It's not that hard once you see it done. It took me a while to figure this out, but luckily I've been around concrete because when I was landscaping, I did some of the concrete work myself. So I was sort of familiar with the properties of the concrete. Okay, I think the next one is, oh yeah, I'm still trying to finish this up. And see, so at this point, you could just kind of touch it up, but don't push too hard. The hardest one was that one here. Uh, it took a while to get that set and then to carve it out so that it's not a big clump. Well, I had to put it on a big clump because the weight. And then once you get it set up, see how I'm just kind of smoothing it over? That's how it's done. And then now it has a nice flat base. So anyway, I hope with all the flaws on the video, you're still getting something out of this. So this is Hero saying goodbye. I'll see you again real soon in another chapter. I'm digging through my archives and see what I still have. The problem is I don't do this kind of work anymore. One thing for sure, it's very strenuous. You know that 50-pound sack of cement? Well, actually it's 90 pounds. I used to be able to pick it up, but now it seems like it's weighing a ton. So anyway, this is Hero saying goodbye. I'll see you again in another chapter real soon.